going to introduce our speaker.
Can get you again.
Okay, hold on a minute.
Hello, we have a very wonderful man here called Stuart James from a very big company called Wilkinson and Son. He's the finance director. His company has been established for 126 years, I'm told. His company makes jam, marmalade, honey, tea, Christmas pudding, and sauces. Now I understand how.
Hi there, everybody. It'd be nice if the profits were increasing as much as the sales. We're doing very well with sales this year, but profits are a little bit tight, mainly because of all the commodity price increase. First thing we did, we went boring, did the same as everybody else, and went for the straight-sided jars. Because we supply 70 countries, we couldn't tell, in theory, which countries were going to order the jam. So we used to make the jam in the small jars and just put them in the warehouse, and then when we got the orders, we'd label them. Well, we actually looked at the order profile and said, well, actually, we know that something like 65% of them are going to be sold in the UK. So straight away we could label 65% with UK labels. We also said, well, the next big ones are Germany and France. So we managed to get 3 countries onto one label. So that got us to about 80%. And then there's a few other things. We connected the lines up and that sort of thing. Now before we did all this, we used to, employees would go home and say, God, 30,000 jars today. By the time we finished, we got the average up to 100,000. And on an extended shift a few years ago, it's a 10-hour shift, we got to about 199,900 and something. And then the employees thought they got over 200,000, but they'd miscounted. So some of them were all for coming back just to finish it off. But we've had to extend to 2 shifts, and we're regularly approaching 400,000 jars a day, which is why you see them all over the place. That's not bad for a small company from Essex, is it?
How many employees?
It's seasonal, really. We have about 270 as a rule, but during the summer we get a lot of students who come usually from overseas to pick in fruit, so there's about 150 to 200 of those, and we have to get in lots of seasonal people to process the fruit as well, because it's so fresh, and we have to either produce it straight into jam or sort it and then put it into the freezer. So the summer for us is very busy. Said earlier about 200. Used to have 200,000 customers. Well, now we don't. As you can imagine, I can probably say who our biggest customers are in the UK. It's the supermarkets, Tesco, Sainsbury's, Waitrose, Morrison's are our big ones in the UK. We then have people like Brakes. Anyway, I think that's enough of my time. I don't know if anybody's got any questions that you would like to.
What area does the farm cover? Where you grow the fruit? How many acres do you?
We have about 900 acres.
900 acres.
Split into 4 farms in around TipTree area.
Do you buy fruit in as well, or do you just?
Yeah, we have to. About half of our sales are as marmalade, so we have to buy them.
Spanish oranges, see?
Yeah, from Seville.
See.
Well, it's a compliment to your sauce which you supplied us. My family and we shall enjoy it. It's very nice recipe, far better than Hans.
Get a bottle for nothing there. Stuart, I've been trying your jams for many years. I think it's the best of them. That's right. But what I would think would be a very good idea, your jam has the biggest proportion of fruit on the market. Why don't you knock that out as a lot of big advert sort of thing? Because people don't read the label and see that it's just sugar and fruit. Then the other labels have got pectins and this and E this and C something else. Why don't you make more of that? And the second part of that is, you see it going to America. I've never seen it in America, and I've never seen it in Canada. We always give our friends from both countries some of those jams to go home with, and they love it.
Yeah.
But they can't get it.
Yeah, it's in America, but it's mainly on the East Coast. So in New York, where it sells for about $12 a
not
jar.
on the West Coast.
No,
No.
but that's the American distribution, unfortunately.
This is a success story. A man met a farm girl in TipTree. Do you know of any other farm girl around?
I'm sure we can find a few.
You do a very nice green tea there, don't you?
We do, yes.
And the coaches used to go there, and also you do a film. And your small jars now are on piano ships as well.
That's right, yes.
Right.
Without wishing to jump on Ron's bandwagon, my wife and I have been using the sauce for some time, which we prefer to Heinz. A piece of advice to anybody who hasn't used it: if you hold it 3 feet in the air, turn it upside down, shake it hard for about 15 seconds, and take the top off, nothing will happen. So you then put a knife up it and bring it out. My question is, have you any plans to put it into a squeezy plastic bottle? Or attach a long
Do that, and then apparently it opens quick.
I'm talking about sauce.
The knack to it
True.
it's actually quite easy. First of all, you make sure the top is on.
Did you say on or on?
I've tried it when it's not been on. And then you just do that. And actually
Keep
the
it
contents
hold of
down to
the-
the end.
keep
Yeah,
it hold of
keep it hold of
it.
it. If you take the top off, it comes out nice and easy. But we deliberately, we don't want to put it into plastic.
No.
If you actually look, Heinz a few years ago were moving entirely to plastic jars. Well, not jars, but squeezy things. And then when we launched ours, they've actually reversed the process, and so they've actually got. We're very clever with the marketing. They've reintroduced the glass jars, and they've got some products very close to the same price, very close to our price now. So we're very clever how they've done it. And they're also doing all the advertising for the stiff tomato ketchup. So I just think they're advertising for us rather than themselves.
Thank you for your question. I'd like to hand you over to Ron, who would like to...
Go on.
Sit down, Ron.
Sit down, right? Better not say thank you for God's sake.
Goodbye.
Stuart, thank you very much indeed. I did apologise before you started with this rowdy lot, so you know what you're going to get. But that was very interesting. Most interesting also in the philanthropic type of thing that was done by the TipTree Wilkins people. Like all the other Victorian ones, we don't seem to get that sort of thing now. But thank you, it was most interesting story. Thank you.
That's a short one, Ron.
Before we finish, Stuart very kindly bought some samples of
how about that?
He bought the small jars, and there should be enough for one each of you.
A box, you mean?
Don't push it up. And we have some other goodies, but we're going to hang on to those and raffle them later on. But the small jars, they are available for all of you. Just thank you, Stuart, for that, and for being so very kind. Can I read the menu out for next week? It is French onion soup,